And I just wanted to point out right away that it is purely a coincidence that Mr. Big's first name turned out to be John. For those who know. Now, my mind was a maelstrom of theories about romance. How could a nerdy, self-sufficient, global woman find love in this post-matchmaker, post-romantic, post-feminist, post-it notes world? And I expressed this storm of inner angst and confusion to Dan and Leora by saying, do you know any single Jewish guys? To which Dan wisely said, I think John's available. And he said, but I have to warn you, he's very hairy. To which I said, so am I. There was potential. That is, until I came into contact with John's particular brand of charm. On our first date, to which he took me to a ukulele concert, John right away asked, how old are you? You don't look a day over 32. I was 30. He asked where I was from. I said Montreal. He said he'd been there, was amazed at the number of strip clubs. He then spent the rest of the evening having one prolonged anxiety attack about whether he would miss the last Jubilee Line train. He actually made me walk him to the station, which you should all know. No, I must say, actually, in retrospect, this all worked very well to my advantage, because from date number 1, I've had ammunition to use against him forever. Anyways, various factors, including coercion, meant that we saw each other again a few days later at an event, a reading of Adam Taylor's, who's also here this evening. And it so happened that afterwards, John and I were both starving. It was nearly 1 a.m. and pouring with rain, but we decided we had to go on a London-wide hunt for mint Oreo milkshakes and traditional Ethiopian food. This important evening became the first of many of our shared missions, our projects, many of which involve finding high-fat snacks. Because indeed, I did go out with John again, and I think it's mostly because after that second date, I knew that John had a really nice car. Now, after a few romantic blowout fights and not seeing each other for a while due to travel, I went to Edinburgh and Glasgow. John went everywhere else. Somehow, John and I ended up dating. Ours was certainly a love that grew, and for me, according to an odd system. On even-numbered dates, I thought John was lovely, sweet, funny, compassionate. On odd-numbered dates, I thought he was a control freak and a lunatic driver. John was a bit like this dress. I wouldn't necessarily have picked it off the shelf, but something made me give it a try. And once it was on me, I realized I look skinny.